I'm now going to introduce three speakers to us, and they're going to talk about developments in autism employment research. Our first speaker is Dr. Marita Falkmer, postdoctoral research fellow at Curtin University. And then immediately following Marita, we'll have Professor Cheryl Dissanayake, who's the OTARC Director at La Trobe University, followed by Dr. Darren Headley, who's a research fellow at La Trobe University. So we'll have each of these presenters in succession. I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Falkmer.
Hi, so my name is Marita. I work at Curtin University and I'm part of the Autism CRC. And I'm going to prepare you. You're in for two things. So you're in for Swinglish, and you're also, because my background is I'm from Sweden, and you're also in for a Swedish tradition. So in Sweden we used to not serve you a dish, but we serve you a smörgåsbord. It's one of the few words we actually exported to English. And so I'm going to serve you a smörgåsbord. And if you've ever been to a smörgåsbord, you know you can only have a little bit of everything. But the good thing is that when you have digested that little bit of everything, you can go back and get more of what you're really interested in. So you're in for a smörgåsbord. So I'm going to talk about a few projects that we have been doing, are doing, and are planning to do, or currently doing. So let's start with leaving school. We know that transition planning is really beneficial for students, and we know if it's done in a good way, it also is linked to better outcomes as adults. But unfortunately, we also know that there are very few transition planning programs that are developed for students with autism. So one of our projects aim to bridge that gap. So the Better Outcomes and Successful Transitions for Autism, the Boost A, is a transition planning program that was developed based on principles of good transition planning, but also on a thorough investigation of the needs of students with autism. And just to put all our projects into context, I'm very lucky because I do work on a daily basis with 5 colleagues with autism. And as part of the Autism CRC's guidelines, we make sure that we get input from autistic colleagues and the Autism Society in all our projects. So all our projects have been informed by also autistic colleagues. The Boost A is an online program. It aims to be interactive and engaging, and as I said, autism specific. So what it is, the aim is that it provides a structure for a process that a lot of kids and their family find a bit daunting, thinking about what will happen when I leave school. They sometimes hesitate even to start planning for it. And the Boost A consists of 4 online modules. So it starts with an introduction, explaining for the student why is it a good thing to actually plan for life after school. And then the first module guides the student to think about what are my strengths, what are my preferences, what would I maybe like to do, what would I definitely not like to do, and create some kind of career awareness. The second module helps the student and the family to think about who can help us in this process. It's daunting, we need a team. So to think about people that can help and to create a team. The third module is used by the team. So they come together, they look at suggestions that were created during the use of the first module, and they get a guidance in how to create a transition planning idea and to set up goals and little steps as well. And then the fourth module can be used in all the following meetings. It helps the team to review and think about it. Do we have to change something? Have we reached our goals? What can we do differently? And throughout the program, there are features that hopefully will support the student to get more and more involved in his or her own planning. All right, we have trialed this program throughout Australia in a big trial, and the results so far suggest that parents and kids actually get increased levels of being able to see opportunities, making decisions, setting goals, problem solve in the home environment. And we didn't see a lot of changes in the school environment, but that was basically due to the fact that in this trial, it was the parents and the students that were the main actors. We also got some feedback from students and parents, and what they said was that they thought it was easy to use. They actually said that it helped them to start thinking about this daunting process and start taking actions. Both the students, both the kids with autism and their parents said, we learned new things I learned new things about myself, I learned new things about my son or my daughter, and we saw more options, and we could actually see a clearer path after school. And the kids, a lot of them really appreciated that it was so clearly strength-focused, so it wasn't focusing on things they didn't do, because they're too used to that, and this was focusing on strengths and preferences. All right, another project. We wanted to look into, we realized that employers are really important. Of course, they are really important when it comes to providing opportunities. So we wanted to ask employers, how do you perceive the costs and the benefits of employing people with and without autism? So we asked, in this study, 59 employers to provide data on 1 employee with autism and 2 without autism that did similar jobs, so that we could compare what they thought about the costs and the benefits of having employers with and without autism. All right. So when we looked at the costs that they reported, we actually didn't find any differences between the groups in regard to the percentage of employees that they said required supervision, additional supervision, or modifications to the workplace, or additional training. That was equal between the groups of employees. We also looked at characteristics of performance. And the employers reported that the employees with autism were more likely to outperform their colleagues without autism in regard to attention to details, work ethics, but also quality of work. Both groups were equally likely to perform on the same level when it came to productivity, but the employees with autism were somewhat less likely to outperform their colleagues without autism in regard to flexibility and following instructions. So we did another study, and we asked employees with autism and employers about success factors for employment. And from this study, we got a lot of good suggestions, but we also drew the conclusion that a lot of employers were actually quite positive to the idea of employing someone on the spectrum, but they didn't feel very confident in being able to do that in a good way. So the next project, based on this idea that we got, that yes, we want to, but we're not sure we can, was to develop an employment tool, or employer tool, actually, that focus on providing employers with some guidelines in how to create an inclusive workplace. So the IEST is quite a simple tool, but it addresses every stage of the employment process, and it provides a checklist of things that you might have to consider, and it provides a lot of strategies for how you can overcome potential challenges. And we've also trialed this tool in a big trial throughout Australia, and what we found was that people found it practical and useful, and that they got good insights into things that could help them refine the different processes on the employment process. And we also saw that employers actually increased their confidence, their self-efficacy, their confidence in communicating with employees with autism, and they got new ideas. And they actually also told us that they think this tool can be useful regardless of your experience in employing people with autism, even if it's useful when you're new, but it can also be useful if you've already done it for a while. And we've also been fortunate to be able to try this tool in another project, which is an Autism Academy of Software Quality Assurance, or ASQA as we call it. And in this project we actually have 3 bits or parts. So we have one outreach program, because what we wanted to do is to provide a pathway for people on the spectrum. So we have an outreach program where we provide opportunities for high school kids to come and develop their skills in originally STEM, which is science, technique, engineering, and math. But we broaden it a bit, so we put an A in there for art as well. So, and then they are mentored by young university students, so they actually also get to see that there is a career pathway. And then we have an internship program where mid-next year we will have 20 interns who have had paid internships for 6 to 12 months in a range of industries. And all these industries have been also given the IAST, and they have also told us that they thought this has been really helpful. We also have an educational part in this program that helps students to find alternative educational pathways. So, I just have to tell you, I went to one of the industries when they first were going to embark on this internship program, and they said, "Oh, we're really nervous about this. We have to have a lot of support. Can you come and tell us what we need to know?" And we said, "Yeah, we will do that, but we'll send you the IAST first." And the next meeting when I came there, it was so cute, because they all printed it out, and they were all carrying it like this, like a safety blanket. And they looked so happy and said, "Well, I don't think we have that many questions anymore." But at least they knew what to ask about, but they felt empowered just by doing that. Okay, a current project. This is the big risk of inviting researchers. You will get recruited, right? So we've been invited to participate in developing an international policy brief, because we know policy is also an important driver of change. So this is a brief that will provide a guiding framework and will include best practice in relation to autism in the workforce or workplaces, and also define some key factors that contribute to successful employment. So we are consulting adults living with autism, family, employers, service providers through a survey, which you can take the opportunity to provide your insights and your experiences. But we're also conducting a lot of face-to-face meetings with people on the spectrum and the other groups in 3 countries, so Australia, the US, and Sweden. For some weird reasons, Sweden came in there as well. So luckily we have someone who speaks Swedish, so that's good. All right, so that is my smorgasbord. There's a lot of things happening. A lot of these resources will be available fairly soon through the Autism CRC. I will be around, so if you want something more of any of these dishes, please come and see me. Thank you.